Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and Wargames. In this video we're going to unbox a piece that I'm very excited for, which is the Dweghom Stoneforged. I was not a huge fan of iron drakes and this kind of thing because the drakes did not feel dwarven enough to me. I know in the plot they are, but I don't know, I just like the idea of fully armored small dwarves, but come on, having this kind of dwarven Gundam seems way too cool to pass up. Just look at it. The one thing that I'm very afraid of, and that's what we're gonna see in this unboxing, is it huge? Apparently it's almost as tall as a Tontor, but can it be magnetized so it doesn't take that much space to store or to transport? I'm not gonna show you around, but I live in Paris. The apartments are small. I don't have the space for storing something like this hidden, and well, my wife wants it hidden. So we'll have a look at this. We will also have a look at the new miniature of the Steelshaper, and then we'll do a Tactica. It's not going to be a how to build really, it's just a Tactica because there's not many options of this Stoneforged and the Steelshaper, which are two very important pieces that also work together very well. So we'll see about how you can play, what spells, what regiments for the Steelshapers, how they combo. We'll see all of this in the quite longer second part of the video. As always, you can go in the timestamps if you want to access this a little bit faster. Before we start to unbox all the YouTube things, you can like, you can subscribe, you can share. If you comment, you get a chance to win an entire Dystopian Wars battle fleet. There are two of them in play right now. We'll make the poll when we reach 1500 subscribers. And without further ado, let's open the box. We'll start with the Steelshaper because it's gonna be faster, and the previous Steelshaper was horrible. I love most of Conquest miniatures, but damn, the previous Steelshaper was bad. I said this with all the joy and respect in my heart, but damn. I was lucky enough to have a proxy that you've seen in our battle reports. You have seen them. It was a collector edition thing from the mountain stands, but for other players it was a bit sad. Now we have a good looking, hopefully, Steelshaper. The style itself is insane, so let's have a look. First of all, do we have a new card? Let's hope yes. Yay, we have a new card. Oh my god, it looks great. Okay, I have to admit, this looks incredibly cool. It looks like almost he has an exosuit or something. And is it a steel beard? Damn. I am for sure playing tempered Steelshapers as my main every time, even though I love my whole life. So we got this thing, we're going to unbox it. We'll also have a look in the second part if it can be magnetized to hold there. But first, let's see inside. Here are the bits, I will put them down. There's a little bit of flash, I have to admit. But again, this is not something that is terrible. You can just clear it with your hand, basically. And yeah, let's start with the main body to get a better understanding of how it looks. And okay, will you please focus on it? There it is. With the black background, it understands a bit better what it's looking at. And yeah, I love the scaled armor right there. Yeah, you can really make it look great. Some painting, I cannot wait to have this on the table. So this is the main body. You also have, this is going to be the first arm. And we see that he has one firearm and one mechanical arm. This is going to be this one on the right. The level of detail is insane. I'm a bit upset that I cannot focus better on this, but if you can see the level of detail in this, you can really make it look great. Second arm is going to be the metallic one, and with the flash it's a bit harder to guess in there, but yes, it is a metallic arm. They could make a little building instructions actually, because you have bits like this and you're like, okay, what is that? It does look fine, but you really have to compare with this and be like, okay, this is the thing that is on the top right there. And we finally have the head. There is the head of this little guy. Yeah, you can really make it look like an iron beard. Looks great. So 5 bits for this little guy, it seems fair. 1 for the body, 1 for each arm, the head, and finally this little thing on the top. Great level of detail. Not much possibility, I'm afraid, for the arms, but that is fine. It already has a very cool pose, and yeah, you can really paint it to be like the lord of your army. For those that might have a question, I think you will be able to put little magnets below the feet, so you can magnetize it either under its base, either under, on top of this throne. we will see right now, because we will unbox the main beast of this video, the Stoneforged. Alright, so here is the beast. Let's see what do we get inside. Is it going to be super small like before? No, it's not going to be as small as the Taos, because damn, this thing is in plastic. Right. So you get, for 130 euros or dollars, you get 3 plastic screws and a little bit. So that might seem not much at all, and I would like, sometimes I would agree, but damn, look how thick this plastic is. Wow. And this is like typically the kind of beast that you need only one for your entire army. I don't see often an army where you would have like 2 drakes, 1 Stoneforged, etc. So you will only ever buy it once. And I mean, isn't that the coolest card you have ever seen? Oh my god, this is crazy. It's like a mix between a Gundam and a Golem. Is it made like, is it conscious, this thing? Is it controlled by magic? I don't know, but I want to know. Okay, luckily this time you have a building instruction. We'll start by this before we start looking at the different pieces. Okay, you get those, and yeah, you can build it. Apparently, like for those that see, I think you can magnetize indeed here, exactly. So you mix here, and you can magnetize there. For the head, it's not specifically necessary, but can you magnetize there? Yeah, I do believe that the legs can be magnetized as well, and then the top. I think the more you magnetize this guy, the better it is going to be for the storage, because otherwise it's just going to be way too big, like absolutely super massive. I mean, it does take a fair chunk of your army, but in the size per points, this thing is just huge. So I know this is an issue for me, that's why I talk about it, but for those of you who have big houses, and lucky you, don't care about this, just look at, oh my god, this is like, I like that in the sprue there's like a little bit, and just in the center of the sprue there is this massive dwarven icon, and well, even the sprue is beautifully presented. Okay, well, I'm not gonna go detail by detail because there are lots of little bits. What I'm gonna just zoom in and try to show, hopefully it will focus this time better than on the Steelshaper, is like how dwarven all of this looks. Like there are little dwarven heads here and there, little. Oh, is this battle damage? Is it my sprue being damaged, or is it, no, it's made like on purpose. So you can make some energy going through this. Wow, this is, oh my god, look here, the same. I just love this. For those of you who've seen our battle reports, you see the color of the army, and as you have seen, maybe recognized, I don't know if it worked, but I tried the color scheme kind of like close to the Iron Dwarves of the World of Warcraft expansion in Northrend. This is the color scheme, like with a very dark, almost black stone skin and blue energy and stuff, and I give them white armor for the contrast. That was the idea, and this looks exactly like an Iron Dwarf Golem for those of you that have played the Wrath of the Lich games. Anybody remember this expansion? I loved it. I played it so much when it was released, oh my god. And oh my god, Lord, good lord, this... I have to say, like, I will admit it right now, I thought of giving this to another Dweghom player in our gaming group, because I thought I would not have the space at home to handle this. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy some Magma Forged and some more Berserkers, and that's what I'm gonna do. But when I see that, holy hell, like, this might be the coolest. Oh my god, that's the shoulder. That's the shoulder. Is it the shoulder or is it the head? I don't even know anymore. But this looks so good. Oh, yeah, it's only 1/2. You have to put the other half, but look at that. I mean, look at that. I cannot hold my excitement. This is insane. This is the most dwarven golem I have ever seen. I just hope that, because I play Voltan as well for 40k, I just hope they do something even half as cool, 1/3 as cool as this, and it's gonna be a home run from Games Workshop. But this is like, wow. Big kudos to whoever designed this, because he understood exactly what is cool about dwarves. I mean, look how thick the plastic is. This is amazing. I love this very much, and I am going to try to put this in every single Dweghom battle report I'm gonna have from now on. Oh my god, this was love its first sprue. Love this very, very much. I think you've seen everything. Like, this is the coolest Dweghom miniature ever. If you don't have it, you should have it. As always, you have 10% discount code, LOVE10, if you buy it on the Parabellum web store. If you do that, thanks very much again, because, well, it's because of you guys that I can make so many videos and battle reports and hire some painters to paint this at the highest level, because all the money I get, I reinvest in the channel on our armies. And yeah, love it. Okay, let's not spend too much time looking at the sprues, because you're also here for the Tactica, how to play this, how you can combo the Steelshaper, other Dweghom units, and of course the Stoneforged. There is one very obvious combo, but it's so strong we have to talk about it. So without further ado, let's do our Tactica for the Steelshaper and then for the Stoneforged.
Let's indeed take a look at those two models, one dwarf sized and the other one pretty much not dwarf sized. We'll talk about these latest update that I put in the bottom left of your picture, basically April for Last Argument of Kings, Mass Battle Games, and July for First Blood, the skirmish one. We're going to first talk about Lost Arguments of King, the Steelshaper, and then the Stoneforged, and then again for First Blood, Steelshaper, and Stoneforged. Why in this order? Because the Steelshaper is very complex. Not complex, but there are a lot of rules, and I will try to explain to you what they do and why it matters, and the warbands, etc. of course. And then the Stoneforge, which, spoiler alert, it's very tough. It's punches monster in the face. It's a big brute, and that's how you're gonna play it. But first, let's start then with the Steelshaper itself, and as you can see, that's a lot of text. Well, we'll go through it. Lots of things, like for example, right there, the tempered crit. I will sum it up for you. Basically, what you need to know is that it's a character. So you buy it, and then you have some regiments which are right there, and you have to buy mainstay and restricted. I will not go into the whole details again. What you need to know is that it's a support character, kind of like, well, it's a wizard, but the main thing that makes it interesting is twice. First of all, he has interesting warbands. He has Steelforged, which is great, Magma Forged, great, Stoneforged, he combos great with this, and also he has access to the Tempered Creed, which is currently the best way to play the Dweghoms, the most competitive one. And he has a very interesting special capacity when he's the Warlord, which is Ferric Embrace. Just realized instead of pointing with my fingers, I can just point it to you with the mouse. And yeah, Ferric Embrace is something you will get if you are the Warlord specifically, and Elemental Potency, which is there, it's if one of your Warlord is either the Steelshaper, either the Sorcerer. So you can see it's already a lot of text that is conditional. If you just buy the Steelshaper as an extra support character for your Warlord Rare or your Warlord Karawa, for example, all those text is not useful for you at all. Okay, so we'll talk about them in a second time, but these are the things that makes it very, very strong. What it is, first of all, it's not a melee character. He has 4 attacks at Clash 2, so Clash 3, when he's gonna inspire. That's not great. He has no cleave, no nothing, 5 wounds, defense 4, which is not nothing, it's toughish, but yeah, you don't buy him for this. He has barrage 5 at 18 inches, and that's where we maybe will want to put him if we don't put him in a Stoneforge. Maybe, yeah, like he will be extremely fine in a pack of Hold Balliste, which is what you usually see me playing him during our battle reports, even though now I'm going to put it in a Stoneforge, that's almost sure. So 5 attacks, it's fine, but that's not why you buy him. He has a Wizard 7, which is good, and he has interesting spells, like quite interesting. First of all, he has Own Blade, which gives +1 clash to someone. Okay, simple, clear, very good. We love it. We absolutely love it. Let's remember that this is not like it's to the clash characteristic. So if you have someone at clash 4, it can go to clash 5. And it's not going to go through the phase of like 4 rerolling 6s, because yeah, it's just the characteristic. So you can have creatures, thinking of Steelforged for example, where you can really boost them if you want to really be at Clash 5 rerolling 6s, which is very, very stable if you would like that. But I don't think that's the thing you're going to use most of the time. The other 2 spells, you have Temper Blade, which gives +1 to your Hardened, which is good. You target someone within 10 inches. +1 to Hardened, it's good in the correct matchup. In other matchups, it just doesn't do anything. So needs to put in balance. But the thing that I really think is very, very interesting is Unmake Armor, which gives to the target -1 to their defenses and to the defense characteristic, which is very, very good. It's just combined so well with so many things. And I will tell you this little combo right now because I've seen people playing it already, and it is efficient. You can put him in a big pack of Hold Warriors with Herald of Magma, or now you can even put him in Magma Forged. I don't think you will use your restricted for this, but you can. And let's remember that Magma Forge, for example, they have a lot of attacks. They have Aura of Death, which means automatic hits on the enemy. And when they die, the Magma Forge, they also give automatic hits with Lethal Demise. The problem is they have no AP, like the enemy uses a full defense. Let me tell you that if you give them -1 defense, they will really be scared at the prospect of charging you, because Aura of Death and Lethal Demise are going to be at -1 defense, and that changes a lot of things because it's like mass attacks without AP. If you start to give -1 defense, that changes the statistics a lot. So that is one way to play this guy. Another thing to take into consideration is critical field, which means that your Wizard 7, it's already good, but when you choose a regiment currently attached to you, if you want to give +1 clash or +1 harden, okay, or you target an enemy regiment to which your regiment is already engaged, so you are in melee with someone, you target them, then it's automatic success. Like you don't even roll the dice, which is insanely great. It's a little bit sad for the timing because, well, it would be too strong otherwise, but you would like to, for example, charge the Magma Forged and then right away activate the Steelshaper. That would be brilliant because that would be the combo to kill everything. However, let's remember that to make the double activation, you need to first activate the character and then activate the regiment to be able to make twice activation. So you first spend your spell, and then without giving the initiative back to the opponent, you can play the regiment. So you can, depending on if there is interference and stuff, you can think like, okay, do I want to take the risk to activate first my Steelshaper to then unmake armor and then send my Magma Forge, for example, in the melee? That is a good call. If you don't have interference, or you're like, okay, maybe I plan that my enemy will not activate this regiment in the meantime, and I first charge the Magma Forge, do my thing, maybe move charge, whatever, and then make opponent activate something. I hope it's not this regiment I'm targeting, and then activate the Steelshaper, automatic success, and make armor, boom, and then your opponent is sad. So it can be a little poker play. Anyway, this is a good first way to play the Steelshaper if you buy him without being your warlord or without elemental potency. It's already good. And yeah, it's a good support piece, and especially it unlocks you the Steelforged, which is not only one of the coolest miniature of Conquest period, fight me, but also such a great unit. It used to be absolutely OP, now it's just very strong and reliable, and I always have 3 in my lists. And I just bought another box of 3 because, yeah, those miniatures are amazing and they are so useful for the Dweghoms. They are now what the Inferno Automata are supposed to be, which is a fast threat that you can bring early-ish, medium, that can go on the flank or just bully the enemy cavalry. It's such a great unit, and the Steelshaper is the guy to unlock them for you, which means that the restricted slots for the Steelshaper is really like busy. It will be difficult to find a place. Okay, this is the first thing. Now, elemental potency. I'm just gonna make it fast because many people that played against the Dweghom know this rule. Basically, when you succeed at making a spell, you gain elemental tokens. Okay, you can start to pile them up, and then when there is an action, so for example, you need to make a defense or morale or a clash, you can use those little tokens up to 3, and then you say like, okay, I make 3 automatic success, which is insane. Just basic example, you usually want to use it for defense because that's the most critical things, and your enemies is attacking your Steelforged, which are great, but they are fragile if you remove their armor, which is defense 4, used to be defense 5. And if they bypass the armor, for example, because they have attacks that ignore the armor, we've seen that happen quite a while, then you only have to rely on your evasion, which is 1. And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna take a lot of damage, and I'm gonna lose my units. However, if you have evasion 1, and so if you use your automatic success, you can say like, okay, I make ones with my 3 cheating tokens, and I'm gonna be fine. Do note that you cannot pass automatic success if you don't have evasion or if you couldn't make any defense roll in the first place. For example, you don't have 0 evasion and your enemy has AP like cleave of 5, you cannot make automatic success anymore. That was too strong. And of course you can use it for morale, but it's a bit too late kinda, and you can make it as well for clash, but do you need that absolutely for clash? No, I've seen most players keeping it for defense, and that's where it's the most efficient. So this is a capacity that is game-changing when you use it at the right moment. Do note that you can need to be within 8 inches of a Tempered Sorcerer or Tempered Steelshaper to use this capacity, so it's not map wide, so be careful. And do note as well that the spells of the Karawar increase the token pool, even though he is not considered the Karawa as a good target for receiving this elemental potency. That's because he is not in the right creed. Okay, that's the fluff reason, and it's also because having this guy with Berserkers turn 1 charging with elemental potency would be too strong, way too strong. That is this capacity. Yeah, I told you there were a lot of things. But we are reaching the end because now we're going to see what I absolutely love about the Tempered Steelshaper. If he is your warlord, and only at this moment, you will gain Ferric Embrace. So let's keep this Ferric Embrace in mind because it will be useful for the Stoneforged when we talk about it in a minute. And Ferric Embrace means that when you apply those elemental potency anywhen, you heal of 1 wound per elemental potency marker, up to maximum 3 wounds. And that means that, okay, you use your 3 defense, automatic success for defense, not only you succeed, but on top of that, you heal, which can lead to situation when, okay, you spend your tokens, but not only you have 0 chance to being wounded, but also you heal, you're stronger at the end of the enemy attack than you were at the beginning. So that's why when you are with a Steelshaper, you will always spend 3 tokens maximum for one single action. I told you something wrong just before. It's maximum 5 you can spend on a single action, but with a Steelshaper, you're always going to be 3 because you can heal maximum of 3. So you lose this bonus if you spend more of this. And it's usually overkill to spend more than 3 tokens anyway. So okay, we've seen the Steelshaper, good support piece, good spells. It wants to be in melee to put unmake armor, good thing. Great warband. Elemental potency, we know that it's amazing. And Ferric Embrace makes it a great piece if you want a very resilient Dweghom army that is not only going to be high defense, not only is going to cancel outright sometimes the enemy attacks, but also is going to heal when it does this. And you can put some stands back and stuff. Amazing. I love this type of gameplay. And probably like whenever I'm going to play Dweghoms without a battle report, I'm going to play this guy because that's what I want. For the battle report, I try to put a little bit of variety, but otherwise, like I just love the Steelshaper so much. And plus, look at this new miniature. We just talk about this again, but look at that. Isn't that the coolest Dweghom warlord you've ever seen? I think it is. Okay, we've seen the Steelshaper and now the Stoneforged. It's going to be quite easier because it has a lot less rules. It's 220 points. So okay, the combo of Stoneforged and Steelshaper, we see that it's already 240 points then. In truth, it's going to be 250 all around because you're going to pay the Ferric Throne upgrade. But let's keep the Ferric Throne for a second time. First, you just buy a Stoneforged on its own, like without a rider. What do you get for 220 points? You get a beast, that's what you get. He has 20 wounds, good, very good. Defense 3, resolve 4, so tough, alright. He has a special rule which is unstable alloy, which means that when targeted by a spell, it's much harder. You need 2 more success to make a successful spell, which is good. And when he's targeted by enemy shooting attacks, he's considered to have hardened 2. So all these high AP attacks, like Caryotid or the Fire Force, this kind of very aggressive, powerful, long-range attack shooting is very much resilient with this because it's going to be always defense 3, and that's great. What else does he have? When he reaches melee, he has 10 attacks. You might say like that's not great, but 10 attacks at Clash effectively 4 because Clash 3 base and Cleave 2, so he punches hard. Little thing, he has evasion 1, so you can always use your tokens to keep him alive with the Steelshaper, as we've said. So thing to keep into consideration. So he punches hard. He's movement 6, which is slow for monster but fast for Dweghom. We like it. He has also impact 4. That's not amazing, but it's there. And he's terrifying 1. So those attacks, 10 attacks at Cleave 2, terrifying 1 is quite good because you're going to reduce the defense by 2 and you're going to reduce the enemy resolve by 1. And then he's fearsome, but this we don't care. So he does punch hard. He's quite balanced. He's not a glass cannon like we see sometimes monster be. He's not a pure anvil either, but he is one of the most defensive oriented monster of the game, which I absolutely love. Just wish he had a giant shield to protect himself. Maybe the Talos one would be look cool on this. I'm just thinking for my conversions now. And yeah, this is a great, great model for just being in the center of the table, attracting attention from your glass cannon units. I put big quotation marks because yeah, Dweghoms have no glass cannon units. They have units that are a little bit less defensive than others. But yeah, this guy is here to really be a distraction carnifex, if you know the expression. So what more can we bring to this little guy? There are two things that go together. Let's start with magnetic conduit. Magnetic conduit is a draw event, so you need to activate your Stoneforged, and at the moment you activate, you can spend up to 3 elemental potency markers. Remember those that you can use for defense, etc. And for each token that you spend, he gains this guy +1 attack, good, and it counts as 1 additional stand for seizing objectives. So the seizing objective, you need to consider and make a little calculation of how much extra do you need. Is it going to make a difference or not? If it is going to make a difference, then for sure do this. Like every army in the game wish it had a rule where it could spend some resource to gain extra stands, because you can only trigger it when you need. That's already great, and extra attacks is just the cherry on the cake. The other thing that is interesting with this is the Ferric Throne. So you're a Steelshaper, it's in your warband. If you pay this upgrade, 10 points, which I think you will do every single time, you can put your Steelshaper on the Stoneforge. First of all, he's going to be tough. He's going to make his little shooting attacks or whatever. He's going to help in the melee, but this is not what you want it for. You want this guy on the Ferric Throne. So it's, first of all, he's going to have a huge base. So when we say like you need to be within 8 inches of the Steelshaper to trigger this elemental potency, when you have such a huge monster stand, it's easier. And you gain a capacity, which is a Ferric Throne, which is when you use your magnetic conduit, so getting up to 3 attacks and counting as 3 extra strands, if you spend at least 2 elemental potency marker, okay, then you gain Blessed, and that changes a lot. This transforms the Stoneforged from tough to downright unkillable. Because when you're gonna be, of course, with your Steelshaper as your warlord, it means that this guy, let's say, is charging onward. He's around the center of the map, your Stoneforged, with a Steelshaper on top. You get some shooting attack from your enemy, and it's really difficult to make damage because it's hard to send spells on him. He's defense 3 hardened 2 against shooting attack. Like, he's tough. Maybe you send a cavalry against him and they made a few wounds and then you obliterated them. Okay, he's a little bit wounded. What's gonna happen then? You're gonna activate the Stoneforged. You're gonna get him extra attack so he obliterates something, and he's very tough on an objective. First of all, he's gonna heal of up to 3 wounds already, and those are very high quality, precious wounds. And then he's gonna get blessed. So when you're gonna target him with your big shooting attack again, he's gonna be defense 3, harden 2, full reroll. Yeah, that's tough. He is a little bit more vulnerable in melee, but if you are in melee with this guy, you'd better kill him fast, because not only he's gonna punch you very, very hard with up to 13 attack, clash 4, maybe clash 5, if you like clash 4 rolling ones, 6s, if you do put the right boost of the Steelshaper, because the Steelshaper is sending his spells, of course, still. If you don't kill this guy, and you need to bring him to wound 0, otherwise even at 1 wound left, he still has his full offensive potential. Well, this guy is just gonna heal. He's just gonna heal up to 6 wounds a turn. Well, okay, you don't have that much tokens, but he can really heal a lot with using it for defense, and healing, using his magnetic conduit to gain blast. It's so tough. Yes, it will absorb most of the elemental potency token of your army, but it's gonna use it so well. That is what it can do. I hope I didn't spend too much time and you are still with me. But that's basically, like, I'm very excited for this piece because that's what it does. It is in the center, it is unkillable, and it is a centerpiece for your army, the centerpiece for a Steelshaper army, for sure. You don't want to spam them, you don't want 2 or 3 of them, because if you do that, you will not have the resources to give them enough elemental potency markers. So you want just one, which is good because it's 130 euros, so that's the budget. 117 if you buy with Love 10 code, and thank you if you do. But yeah, you just want one, and when you have this, like, it's gonna be the center of your army for sure. If you don't want to use all this combo and everything around the Stoneforged, maybe you're just gonna buy an ironclad Drake and it's gonna do the business just as good. Maybe less defensive, a bit faster, and more glass cannon, more offensive oriented, okay. But if you use all the combos of the Stoneforged that we just described in detail, then this thing is just gonna be like almost as polarizing as a fallen divinity for the Old Dominion. Almost. But yeah, for sure, it's going to be the center point of your entire army, of the entire game. Like, can your opponent kill it fast enough or not? Or maybe can it kill the sorcerers that are going to generate elemental potency tokens around? Because if he's out of elemental potency tokens, his efficiency goes down quite a little bit. Do note, I didn't mention that, but he is only restricted, obviously, thank God, for the Steelshaper, obviously, but also for the Sorcerer and for the Rare. So there might be an option if you want to, for example, you have a Rare and then you can just buy an extra Stoneforged. I don't think that's what you want to do, however. But you can do that, for example, if you have a Sorcerer as your Warlord, because he really enjoys having these defense tokens, because it still has evasion 1, so it can always use those defense tokens to survive. Okay, we switch now to First Blood, and it's less complex, and you can see there are a lot less rules. If you are leaving us now because you're not interested in First Blood, do give us always a little thumbs up, it really helps, and a little comment to gain a chance to win something, which is going to be, depends if the previous battle fleets already won, probably Union and Covenant battle fleets for Dystopian Wars, otherwise it's going to be something else. Anyway, there's always something to gain. And yeah, so if you stay with us for First Blood, let's have a look. The first thing we are going to say with that is that the Tempered Steelshaper does not have access to retinue. And retinues are basically officer level of powers. You can have up to 3 of them, and they're usually quite cheap. So if you don't have access to this kind of units, it's a big minus. So he is free, the Tempered Steelshaper, okay, but not having access to retinue is a minus, so it better be good to compensate. And yeah, it's good. First of all, he's defense 4, resolve 4, with 5 wounds, so he's tough, okay. He's always considered to having pass any morale or resolve characteristics, so tough indeed. He's basically Old Dominion at this point. He can ignore any duel that you would try to do against him, great. And he does 3 actions per round. That's okay, that starts to be good. He has Terrifying 2, but put it, don't think it's crazy because he has only 4 attacks at Clash 2 without Cleave, okay. But he has Aura of Death 6. And so it's going to be not 6 per model, it's 6 per regiment that he's engaged with now, okay. But still, it's good, So he's not defenseless, he's tough, and it's still annoying to be locked with him because he's burning and giving you Aura of Death 6 all the time. Plus it's terrifying because, well, come on, he looks terrifying. The things that you will want to do with your different actions that you can do all the time is you have out of combat actions. You have 3 of them that you can see there. Sorry, 2 of them. And you can move, of course, you can make a double move if you want, and charge, or move, charge, attack, like it's great. Let's have a look. First, the out of combat actions that you can do. First one, it's dull blades, so you can target enemies, usually, and then they lose their engagement range, which means that you can point 2 models and say, you 2 guys, you're not going to attack in melee. They can still shoot, yes, it's insane. Of course, if you target militias, they don't care that much, but if you were about to be impacted by, I don't know, Chosen of Conquest, for example, that's extremely powerful. Like, those guys punch hard, and if you can just say those 2 guys don't attack, that's great. You can move and then use this spell, or even move spell. That's great. It's a big range. So absolutely love this. Do note, of course, you cannot target characters, officers, and monsters, because that would be too strong. I wonder if the bodyguards have the character keyword? I don't think so. But anyway, basically not the strongest units of your enemies can be targeted, but if you choose some elite units, like of course Varangian guards and stuff like that, then you're gonna get your money's worth out of this guy. Then the second action, and that's a big one as well for control, it's corrosion. Okay, so corrosion means you choose a target within the Steelshaper's command range, okay, and any regiment, friend or foe, on this objective gets DK 6. Ooh, that's tough. Do note that it can combo with Aura of Death, of course. You can have DK 6 and Aura of Death 6. Uh, that is quite tough. The decay happens at the end of your activation, but still, like it can do a lot of damage to enemies with low defense values. That's the first thing. And units with the decay special rule count as 0 models on this objective for the purpose of seeding them. That's great, but you're like, okay, so it's basically nullifies an objective, but be careful because right there you can see that he has command abilities as well, and one of them, which is Oxidize, it means that a friendly regiment not only lose the decay special rule, which is great, but also in this friendly regiment that you've targeted, they cannot receive decay anymore until the end of the regiment's next activation. So it can basically nullify an objective and say like, no, everybody on this objective is gonna get a lot of damage, and my unit that I will immune against this will be on the objective, will not have the decay special rule, and thus will be able to control the objective. So it's a lot of extra steps compared to some other abilities that we've seen where you just claim an objective, but it's still very good, and it can do some extra damage as well. The other two commands that you have, three commands, one of them is Leaving Metal. Target regiment heals 3 wounds. Great, especially when you're going to target, of course, the Stoneforged, which, spoiler alert, can be targeted by the commands of the Steelshaper. Okay. Then you have Ferric Expansion, which you target a friendly monster or infantry models within engagement range. Okay, probably you're going to target the Stoneforged, okay? They cannot be the target of a volley action. Not going to come into play all the time, but if your enemy is lining up for a big volley attack on your Stoneforged, it's good to get him like a wall of iron and just protect him from everything. Okay. And the last one, which is a bit generic but is nice, you target a friendly regiment and then they reroll 6s when they make a clash action. Simple, little reliability out of your clash actions. It's always appreciated. Overall, is it worth everything? The Steelshaper? Yes, 100% if you bring a Stoneforged. We are going back again in this. Otherwise, it's not the most competitive Dweghom list that you can make with all of this, for sure. But as a fluff little list, it's not weak. It's not weak. There is a lot of extra steps compared to the brute force of the Hold Rare, but it's fun to play. It's quite funny that in Lost Arguments of King, the Rare is the worst warlord you can get, and the Steelshaper is one of the best. And this is kind of like the vice versa in First Blood, because unlike Last Argument of King, in First Blood, the Rare is basically the best warlord you can get with all bodyguards and stuff. You've seen it in our battle reports. And Sorcerers and Steelshapers, they're not great at all. So funny to see the roles being reversed, but still, it is tough. It has some nice combo with putting DK 6 or of the 6. It's terrifying too. And it can heal units around. It's good. It's not OP. I would say try it if you like them all. If you put a Stoneforged in First Blood, well, first of all, you're a monster. And second of all, do try to bring this guy out to be around healing, protecting against volley, etc. etc. It's not the most competitive for sure. What is competitive, however, is the Stoneforged. You can put him without the Steelshaper, because yes, he benefits from the spells of the Steelshaper, but that's not what he absolutely needs to win everything. He is less combo oriented than before, than on Last Argument of King, and he's just a brute. 500 points, so straight up half of your list in this guy, but what does he bring you? 20 wounds, which is better than in Last Argument of King because it's a smaller scale game. So 20 wounds is a lot. 12 attack period. We remember it was 10 and you could boost it, but here it's 12 base. Cleave 2, great. hardened 1 baked in. It's not like against volley, etc. No, always hardened 1. Terrifying 1, alright. Impact 6, so you get even more impact. Clash 3 steel, same movement. Defense 3, resolve 4, so still very, very good. And the thing that combos a little bit, let's say, with the Steelshaper is that if he has decay something, then instead of getting any special damage, like straight up attacks, he gains barrage X. So there are two ways to understand this. I think that it means that he just suffers some attack, and that's what my friends say. Like, yeah, he just extra steps to say that he receives right away a barrage attack against him. Okay. What I think it means, and confirm me in the comment if you know the truth of this. What I think it means is that if you were to receive decay, for example, by corrodation from the Steelshaper, he gains a shooting attack, which means he not only is not wounded, not only he can capture the objective, but also he can start shooting at something with rapid volley within 12 inches and then use its volley attack of a volley capacity of 3. If this is the case, and this is what I'm trying to tell my friends that it's the truth, but they say like, no, it would be too strong for the Dweghoms, I don't know, like they don't like Dweghoms. I think this is the truth, so I'm gonna say what happens if it is the case. Then this thing is an absolute beast combined with the Steelforged. Because yes, you put him on an objective, everybody else gets DK, and this guy not only he doesn't need to have Oxidize, he will keep the control of the objective, but on top of that he gains strong shooting actions. For example, barrage 6 with armor piercing 1 rapid volley, it would be insane. Plus he has good volley action, that would be great. If it is the case, I don't understand what it would represent in game. He doesn't have shooting weapons. Does he shoot like, I don't know, energies or rocks or whatever? I don't know what it would mean in terms of in-game fluff, because he doesn't have shooting action in the last argument of King. But if it is the case, that's insane and I love it. And forget what I said about the Steelshaper not being competitive. Steelforged plus Steelshaper plus Stoneforged, that would be a great combo. That's if I'm right. Maybe it just means that he suffers a barrage attack against himself, if my friends are right. I think they're not, but we'll see. I will put in the comment what is the truth, or I will pin your comment, guys, if one of you is sure of the truth, and I will pin it so you can just have a look of whether it's great because he can shoot, or whether it's just decay with extra steps. So that's the first thing. Another thing that he can get, and this is actually great because he moves fast-ish for a Dweghom, and he has Tectonic Slam, which means that he can basically one-shot objective markers without even targeting them. Let's remember that they have few wounds. You can only make 3 per attacks. So yes, he has impacts, and yes, he can punch them, but it means that instead of spending 2 turns destroying an objective, you can just arrive on it and just one-shot it, like no questions asked. And that's great. That's great. So because it means no matter if they say like, yeah, we're gonna rebalance the game and now objectives have 4 wounds, for example, or 5, no, he's always going to one-shot them. So in a game that is usually won or lost through objectives, being able to just one-shot your enemy's objective marker is insanely great. Finally, and this is something that combos well with the Steelshaper, is always considered to be in range of the Steelshaper's command ability. Let's go back to the commands. It can always be healed, it can always be oxidized, but probably doesn't care that much if I am right on what it does. And you can always receive, for example, rerolling hit rolls of 6s, for example. If I'm right, you will always want to be in range anyway of the Steelshaper because you will want to receive corrosion from the Steelshaper. So we'll see how much impactful it is. Anyway, it's always good to be always in range of getting some heals, especially when your defense 3 resolve 420 wounds. Alright, we have seen those beautiful models for Lost Arguments of King and for First Blood. It took a while to describe the rules, but as you can see, there were a lot of things, a lot of little special rules, etc. But I hope that it helped you to understand, first of all, the gameplay of those things. You can see that there is a lot of synergies between the Steelshaper and the Stoneforged, and I love that. I love this for the Dweghoms. They're not as easy to play anymore than just, okay, put some giant drakes in the middle and start shooting every time. It's a bit more interesting than that. If you would like to get those models, as always, you can use the Love10 promo code and it will give you 10% and it will really help the channel. So thank you so much if you do that. I know that a lot of you guys, especially in the US, are doing this. So thank you very much to our US community and also to the few guys in Europe that do this. It really helps the channel, to be honest. We are going to paint those guys at the highest level very soon. The Steelshaper for sure and the Stoneforged. Come on, I want to play it as well. So we will get them painted and we will put them on battle reports, well, as soon as possible. Probably we'll try to make a recording this autumn. Very excited. Let us know if you are interested in those models, either to get them for your own Dweghom army or if you are a bit worried to see them on the table against you. Thank you very much for having watched until the end of this long video. Hope it was helpful whether you're a Dweghom player or you have a Dweghom player in your area and you want to know how to counter them. I didn't say any tips on how to counter the Stoneforged, but basically, yeah, kill the casters that support it and it's gonna be a lot easier for you. Also, Last Argument of King is very vulnerable to melee and not to shooting attacks, so take care of this. And in all the games, First Blood and Last Argument of Kings, he counts on his healing a lot, so try to, kind of like what you would do for a Fallen Divinity, just go all in on this guy and try to kill him in one turn, maybe two, so he doesn't get to heal too much, because if he gets to engage turn after turn after turn, that's when he's gonna roll you up. Alright, thank you very much for having watched until the end. Remember to give us the thumbs up, the subscribe, all the YouTube things, little comments so you can gain some Dystopian Wars goodies if you're still there, and there's going to be maybe some new games after this Dystopian Wars challenge. So we'll see what happens this winter. Until the next video, take care of yourself, guys, and remember to keep things fair in love and war games. Bye!